Said many times before that you cannot reform these police departments because they thoroughly infested with white supremacists. Now, we covered on the podcast about a former, Army guy that infiltrated, those networks and said that how in the police departments, the white supremacists are everywhere. It is a epidemic. But they try to act like it's not. They depend on that system to keep it going. Because you understand, America's foundation, how it was built on racism, white supremacy. So if you literally take racism, white supremacy out of everything, then America literally will be fundamentally changed. And that's really the only way that America can be a better place is you have to take that out of there, which means they can't run it. That's just really what it is, because if they're running it, that comes along with them. Case in point, this story. So you have a race soldier by the name of Derek Camerzell. He's the assistant chief with the Kent Police Department. He received a 2-week suspension in July 2021 after displaying a Nazi symbol. They say on the office door above his name. Now, Camerzell, a 27-year veteran of the department, was suspended by Police Chief Rafael Padilla. That's interesting. That's a Latino name. And you got this guy running around doing this. That is very, very interesting. I know good and well that guy didn't just start doing that day. Okay. So it said that he was suspended, for violating city policy prohibiting harassment and discrimination and for unbecoming conduct in violation of police policy. Now, Padilla took the action after Camerzell posted the insignia attributed to the Nazi military rank, as according to a July 14, 2021 notice of discipline document issued by Padilla to Camerzell. He said that I'm deeply embarrassed by this incident. This said Camerzell said in December 30th email. He said, I wish I could take it back. I know now what that rank represents, and that is not what I value who I am. Stop lying. It is exactly who you are. You just got caught. And because you're not brave enough to stand on what you're displaying in the office, no, just say, this is who I am. It is what it is. You see, now he continues to say the expectations for an assistant chief are rightfully incredibly high. I do my best every day to make sure and to meet and exceed those expectations. So let me ask y'all a question. This guy was the assistant chief, and this is what he's doing. Now you imagine what the rest of them under him is doing out there. You imagine how many white supremacists is in that particular department when the assistant chief is a white supremacist himself. Now, they said details of the incident were released in December after a public records request to the city of Kent by a group called No Secret Police for documents about the discipline and investigation of Camerzell. It said that anonymous group emailed the documents December 27th to a Kent reporter and the Kent City Council. Now, the city of Kent hired an independent law firm that has extensive experience in employee investigations to investigate thoroughly the conduct of Assistant Police Chief Derek Camerzell. That's according to the December 28th statement released by the city communications staff. They said the city hired a second employment firm to review the investigation and recommend appropriate discipline based on labor law and the advice of the employment law firm. It said the city believes a 2-week suspension was an appropriate and defensible response to the conduct identified in the investigation. Y'all, see, this is why when they do something to black folks, this is why uprisings happen. You see, this race soldier right here, for him doing that, he should have been fired. No questions asked, right? But they give him a 2-week suspension. That's all he get. A slap on the wrist. And then he can go ahead and come back to work. This is why we have this problem. This is why right here. So when they do something to black folks, it wasn't just one day they woke up and did something to somebody black. No, they've been doing this mess for years. And then one day they end up killing a black person. Okay. And then now the city is getting turned up, and now they're getting a $1 billion bill after black folks are done. Right. So they say Mayor Dana Ralph and Padilla were emailed a set of questions. He said by a reporter about the incident and suspension. Rather than responding individually, the city issued a statement on behalf of the leaders through a communication staff. Right. So they didn't want to even respond. They wanted to just do some old PR move, which they said the independent investigation showed Assistant Chief Cameron exercised poor judgment. Poor judgment? Really? So you displaying white supremacist insignia, and that's poor judgment when you know the history of all of that? Wow. Listen, that mayor, that city council, and everything is covering for this guy. Let me continue what they say. They say poor judgment in this situation, despite an otherwise stellar 27-year career with the Kent Police Department. In other words, we're not going to do him anything. This is okay with us. He has apologized for his conduct, and since his return to work has fulfilled his responsibilities in full compliance with the department's values and policies. The police department expects Assistant Chief Cameron will continue to abide by the department's values and policies in the future. Lord. And the guy wasn't even demoted. I'm telling y'all, these people, I told y'all, if you want a peaceful country, if you want an America where everybody can just, thrive, these people cannot run it. You understand? Other people going to have to take the reign. Just call it what it is. These people are too gone. Racism, white supremacy is their culture, and they're not going to let it go. You understand? This guy's the assistant chief, and he was allowed to continue in that position. All he got was a 2-week suspension, and they act like it was, just a paperwork error. That's the way they treat it. Like he messed up on some paperwork real bad, and they suspended him for it, and he came back to work. This is how they're treating this. Okay. So it's Padilla had placed Cameron on paid administrative leave in March 2021, pending the outcome of the investigation. So he was getting paid, while he was at home. And according to city documents, Padilla decided to suspend Cameron without pay, but gave him the option to use 2 weeks of vacation time. So he was on administrative leave. Then the chief said, okay, well, you're going to be at home without pay. But look, use your vacation. So basically he was home with... This is what's going on in America, folks. And you wonder why the race soldiers are the way they are. Okay. They say Cameron issued an apology internally. He has not apologized to the city council. They continue to say that I think he spoke to his peers. I know he spoke to the chief. He didn't address the council. I wanted him, but he chose not to go down that path. His peers are with him on that. They're giving him attaboys. What are you talking about? Okay. But they continue to say the same old crap. The city of Kent, the Kent Police Department condemned racism in all its forms and committed to investigate and, when necessary, impose disciplinary action for every violation of our values and policies. The city took the allegations against Assistant Chief Cameron very seriously and stands by the independent investigation and discipline. That's why I even hate reading these statements, y'all, but I have to read it for news purposes. This stuff just get on my nerves because these people are allowed. These people are allowed to do this. But black folks come to work late and they fight. They have an uprising in the city. And this is why when I make my content, I don't tell no one to stand down. I don't say nothing like that. The reason why is because I know in whatever city that one of those race soldiers, unjustly killed a black person, I know that wasn't the first time. I know they had white supremacists, in the police departments. I know they were doing a lot of dirt to black people. I know they were planting evidence on black people. All these different things I know they're doing because it don't matter where they're at. It don't matter what state. They're like that everywhere they go because I told you racism, white supremacy is their culture, and which makes it dangerous for black people. You understand? Now, anytime something happens, I always want to read to you the demographics of the city. So how the racial demographics break down is 46% white, 20% Asian, which we know the model minorities always want to stay in good graces with, definitely with the white supremacists. Black, 12%. 12% black people in Kent, Washington. They say other race, 9%, two or more races, 7%. And then you have your Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander, 2%. Okay. So with that being said, the black folks population there only represents 16,000 people, just to break down the actual numbers, and white folks represent 61,000. So that's not a lot of people at all in that city. You know, we got way more black folks than that in Houston, please. I mean, we stomping pretty hard out here. But with that being said, what I'm trying to tell y'all is this. Once again, you can't reform this. You can't reform it. They whole police reform. You can't reform something that was meant to run that way. You can't reform it. Think about it. Every time one of them police go to jail, it's because black folks got in the street. Not your politicians. They didn't do nothing for you. Because every time black folks sit down and just ask the politicians to do their job, they don't do it until black folks start taking what I would say an extreme measure to get them to do something, right? That's why a lot of people, last night I was on a clubhouse last night, and this room was about the Asian hate crime bill. And the issue, there's one brother that it was in there doing all that. Well, we gotta, it takes time. We gotta wait, and don't put everything on Biden because we gotta wait. We gotta wait. Negroes, you know how they are. We always gotta wait. 400 years. We still waiting. You know what I'm saying? It's just sad how lost some black folks are, and how they really want to wait until Massa do something for them. Massa can do something for everybody else, but them, they're okay with just waiting. Okay. So those of you who don't believe in waiting, it was even sad that you had a Puerto Rican guy that said in that room that black people shouldn't be waiting for anything because it's been long enough. Why they always told to wait? There's a Puerto Rican guy saying this, and it's just embarrassing. So embarrassing just to even hear that kind of crap. So we got to wait and still deal with white supremacist cops. That we gotta wait on that. And I told that fool, I said, hold on. I said, he mentioned the filibuster. I said, the filibuster is a rule. It is not a law. It's a rule. And they can get rid of that rule at any time they want to. Don't be giving me that. I told him, black folks can go out there in the middle of a pandemic to vote for all of the mess that this guy is doing Biden. They didn't vote for no Asian bill. They didn't vote for no infrastructure. They didn't vote for all the stuff that he's doing. They didn't vote for no Build Back Better. They didn't vote for any of that mess. They voted to get that qualified immunity removed. That's what a lot of them voted for. Of course, the Trump thing too. Yes. Some of them, probably a good portion of them talking about voting rights. Okay. I got that. And they ain't done a damn thing. Anti-lynching bill. They won't do anything that's for black folks. I'm a big proponent. I keep talking about this, about the home ownership rates in the black community, how it's still the same as it were in the 1960s, and how they can literally change that overnight for black folks. And that's something that Biden himself can do. He don't need Congress to even do that at all. He don't need them, right? But with that being said, you can't reform this. You just can't. And anybody talking about that police reform, they just wasting your time. It is a waste of time to talk about police reform. If they're not talking about this, or you want me to reform police? Okay, no problem. Well, I need at minimum all the police departments that have a good population of black people. I need the majority of the police in America to be black people. We didn't have y'all long enough. Let's go ahead and switch it up. Black folks been here. Black folks built this country. So let the majority of the police be black people in America. Guess what'll happen? The racism at the top and all of that will go. You won't be having all these police shootings, mass incarceration to go. And they know that because they know we are a righteous people and we are a good people. We always want to do good as a people. They know that. But trust me, they don't. That's why they don't want us to control anything, because when we control something, talking about the best of us, you know what I'm saying? Good things gonna happen, and they like the chaos. They like that because they the way they feel, if they don't have their racism, white supremacy around, they don't know how to act, and they depend on that system to keep this, the way it is. That's why them folks are quick to go call the race soldiers, because that's the foot soldiers of white supremacy. I'm gonna call 911. Now, technically, you don't supposed to be calling 911 except for a true emergency, not because this person's getting on my nerves and me call 911. That's not an emergency. You just call a regular police line, but they're not gonna do nothing to them about that, because this is the system that they, have built to be on a racial caste system. But as we stated at the beginning of the year, Babylon is steadily falling, but we are rising. We are constantly rising because we have been at the bottom long enough. If you have not paid attention how they are descending and how we are rising, I want you to, in your mind, go back to starting at 2019, at that 400-year mark, 2019. And ever since 2019, they have been going down, and it's going to continue to happen. And we are constantly rising. Everything is changing for the better for the black man and black woman globally. And any of you who sides with the racist and white supremacists, any of you, you're going to go down with them, because you're going to have the same judgment as they have. But with that being said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the podcast this morning. We greatly appreciate it. And if you like the podcast, continue to help us with the fundraiser that we have going on for 2022. We definitely need your help to hit all our goals that's coming up this year. As you know, this kind of message isn't supported by big major corporations, and some even black people may not really support what we're talking about because it kind of scares them, right? But we're not worrying about the people that are scared. We're talking about the people that really want to see some change and really need the truth to get out there, because these kind of platforms, like our platform, is just being a light in a dark area. We live in a lot of darkness in America, so you need to have that light shining to warn you of impending danger, to protect your family, to protect your friends. So make sure you go there. The link will be in the pinned comment. And we greatly appreciate everybody that has donated and those who will continue to do so in the future. So once again, thank you for listening, and see you next time.